Welcome back to Creator Codes. Oh my goodness. Today's episode is a vulnerable one for me. And it's really interesting because sometimes when I share on Instagram or socials and I'm crying and people are like, "Thank you for being vulnerable." I'm like, why does the word vulnerable not resonate with me? It doesn't feel vulnerable for me to share with the world, me crying. That doesn't feel vulnerable. I've gotten so used to it and I've wired my system to just kind of share a lot to strangers and to acquaintances and to students and to people all over the world. And as I'm just diving right in, by the way. And as how are you? How are you doing today? I'm great. Been crying. I was crying earlier and yesterday. And like all of this is coming up right now. And it is a really juicy time to share. A lot of people would say, like, make sure you work fully through your things before you share it with other people, but this is actually a means to help me a little selfishly when I talk about these things in a teaching format. It helps me download the lessons and my soul lesson and what I'm moving through in a higher perspective. It's like this podcast is like my higher self talking to my human self, if you will. So I just want to preface this by saying I'm not looking for guidance. I'm not looking even for like, I don't want to say I'm not looking for support, but just like, I'm not saying these things to have anyone feel bad for me or like none of that. It's just something that is actively moving through me and I want to use it as a teaching moment to my human self and to anyone that is also experiencing something of this nature. And if you're seeing this, it is potential that law of previews that you may gain more exposure online. We are at the age of Aquarius where we're connecting more and more with everyone around the world so easily through technology, where you might go through this as well and you're going to have more eyes on you. And this is just, I don't want to say a forewarning, but just an example of something that can happen when you are in any kind of spotlight and you put yourself out there. So there's a lot of pros and cons to it all. Nothing is just good. Nothing is just bad. Gaining followers on Instagram, that's not all good. It's also bad. And so the law of polarity, the law of balance, it's really the law of balance of having it all in everything. It's all good. It's all bad. And when you are neutral, that is when you can be intuitive and tap into these things that I'm tapping into now about kind of something that's come up. And I wouldn't even say this is a negative aspect of having more exposure. It's just something that I have realized through this soul path that I am on, that I am meant to learn in this way at this time. And I think Sedona's energy for really amplifying this, because even if it's really small, something feeling kind of off in the past, it's really easy to like do a little spiritual bypassing, toxic positivity, everything is fine, I am good, it is all good. That's not true. It's good and bad, baby. And so when something like this is coming up that has caused a lot of emotion over the past like 24 hours, Sedona's like, hey girl, let's make that a little bigger. Let's amplify that so you can really see it very clearly once the emotions move through. And so the emotions have moved through, even though literally it's been like hours and last night and today. But again, this is when it feels most potent in me to share. So again, let's get into it. As I started to get more popular online, especially on TikTok and Instagram, I became more and more comfortable with sharing kind of really anything in my life, from the things that I eat to the things that I have learned, to the tears in my eyes, to the lessons that Sedona is teaching me. I mean, all of these different things, which I kind of want to do an episode on that, but we will see. That just kind of came through. And it's just been so interesting to see myself on this journey. And just recently, like I'm saying, this is so recent, something is coming up about, well, it's not just recent. 444. It's amplifying now because I actually am planning to go to my hometown from Sedona. So I'm not going to be in Arizona for a little bit of time. And so there's been a lot that's come up with that, which is so interesting. I'm like, whoa, okay, interesting. And I'm seeing it from that perspective and letting the emotions go through. So that is so key. And as I've decided to do this, I'm kind of thinking of like, it's just interesting to go back when I came here in a sense to like create community. I think I've told you guys, like, I came here to be a part of community. I knew that like after my last relationship, I went into hermit mode. I was ready to get out and like connect with the world, with people. Coming here, what happened? Hermit mode. And I make a joke. It's like, oh, I thought it was a community of people, but turns out it's a community of spirits, of like ancestors of the land, which is true. And it's amazing. And that's a huge part of why I'm here. But I realized like this was the next step in my journey for it to amplify what's actually underneath the surface of the connection that I have wanted and that I have not been able to actually actualize in physical form. I mean, I got a lot of spiritual friends. We got a lot of spiritual guidance and a lot of spirit guides and spirit family and soul family and my clients and my students, literally the best people on earth. And I'm so obsessed with them. But that is very different than having a friend to hug once in a while, every day. I'm like, when's the last time I've had a hug? And I know that might sound really sad. And it kind of is, because the happiest people hug at least 5 people a day. I might have mentioned, when did I mention that? I feel like I've recently said that. And the people that hug 5 people a day are naturally happy, because this is a part of our like human DNA, is human connection, is support, right? Receiving and giving that support. And so although I give support all day long, I give it, that's kind of gotten me into the masculine of like being in control and being really comfortable with being in control with the information that I share. I'm in control of it, and I'm telling you what I'm telling you when I want to tell you, and you receive it whether you want to or not, right? So this is helping me talk it through. So thank you. Thanks for listening. So that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting, because as we know, we can work on our feminine energy and our masculine energy, and that feels like such big things. It's like feminine energy, receiving, masculine energy, giving. But in this context, in my business, in my social life, these are the biggest lessons for me right now, is I do overgive. I might have mentioned this before, like if you spill something on you, like if I take a drink of water and I'm spilling, it is a bit of overgiving energy. I spill on myself all the goddamn time, like every single day. And if you don't look at that, you're going to get more reflections, bigger reflections, that is going to cause you to stop and be like, okay, what is going on? A little dribble here and there, not that big of a deal. Like today, when I was putting my makeup on, it squirted on my shirt, and I was like, no, I'm wearing a black shirt. It's like the color of my face. That's no. And so that really made me stop and think and be like, okay, all right, yeah, I do give a lot. And it's like a cycle that I've stepped into with just being in control of the information that I'm sharing. And that has been my relationships, is with students and clients. And so even in my classes, when people do readings for me, I notice it's not that it's like uncomfortable for me to receive, but there's almost like this wall or block or like mental thing. It is my nervous system. It's my brain being like, no, like you don't need to listen to that. And I do listen, and I take it in, and I'm grateful. Like, you know, there's different parts of ourselves that are always active. And I'm noticing this part of me that's like, no, like, you don't need to receive this right now. And it's so interesting to witness, because I know I could receive more value if that part of me was not as active. And it's so sneaky. It's such a sneaky thing, right? Because I'm a teacher, and like I do have sometimes that habit of being like, I don't need a reading for myself, or I don't want it, because I just want to give it, right? I've gotten into that habit. So I've wired my mind. I haven't even looked at my notes yet, but I've wired my mind to be more in control in just like shooting out the information versus being embraced and held by others. And that's going to make me sad. And I had a feeling I might get emotional today because this is something that's really raw in me. And this is, I'm wearing my Aquarius shirt today, which is so funny. I didn't even think about that because a really positive attribute of Aquarians is being a humanitarian and connecting with community and bringing people together. And that is seriously one of my biggest strengths. Such a massive strength for me. And I'm noticing it in Tarot Intuition Mastery, where people are coming together and they are doing other classes together. They're doing readings for each other. They're supporting each other. They're giving advice. They're sharing their dreams. They're sharing what they're going through. They're asking for help. And so it's so interesting to witness myself create these powerful containers where people lean on each other. And it's hard for me. It's been hard for me to immerse myself in it. And it just feels it feels safe for my nervous system to be in control of it and to just overwatch it. And when I'm doing readings for the collective, that's me kind of doing that same thing, is watching the people respond and wow, you see me, right? You know me. Okay, excuse me, I'm a little teary. And so it's just so interesting. I always watch myself from afar, but this has been something that I haven't, this is why, it's called shadow work. Not that I love that term, but it's important to let our shadows come up, especially as spiritual leaders, so we can know ourselves more, so we can lead in better ways. And so beyond that, we can be good people. Okay, I don't want to use the word good. So we can be beautiful companions in interpersonal relationships. So, okay. Thank you for listening to this, by the way, because it really is very potent, as you can tell. So, yeah. I reach thousands of people online every week, and yet I've been feeling how very few people I actually let close. And it's not because I don't want deep connection, but because somewhere along the way, my nervous system started associating relationships with danger. This is so vulnerable for me to share. This is so vulnerable for me to share. And just recently, especially, this has been coming up where I'm like, whoa, I really could use a friend. With my brother's cancer diagnosis, I'm like, I would love, and I'm not saying I have zero friends. My best friend, she lives in LA. Shout out to Carly. Love you so much. But she lives in LA, and it's just interesting to witness even the opportunities that I have to connect deeper with people around me. I don't take them. I very rarely take them, because I have actually noticed ever since my relationship with Joe, we were in a relationship for 4 to 5 years, my brain actually rewired in that relationship, which is so wild. It became really clear to me, especially I think today when I was talking to my mom about how my brain has rewired. I have these neural pathways that I can also rewire because #neuroplasticity, we can change our brain. And it's so cool that science is now seeing that. And a habit is a neural pathway, right? It's something that we do naturally. It's like we drive to work every day, and I don't even know how I got here because I'm just so used to it. It's like a habit. It's just like a wired thing. And so what's been wired in me ever since that relationship, first of all, choosing to be in a relationship that I didn't really deeply, like my soul did not want to be in, there was a lot of feeling of obligation and a feeling of, what's the word that I thought of earlier? It'll come to me. But there's like a lot of this like obligational energy around it of like, I felt obligated to stay in the relationship. I felt obligated to do certain things for him in the relationship in order to make him happy, even though it wasn't like super aligned, right? I felt like he was obligated to do things for me. So that's what actually got wired into my system, this belief that I'm now coming aware of, is I have associated relationships with obligation and, gosh, what is the word that I've lost? It's okay, it'll come to me. But it's just not a great feeling that I've associated with like close interpersonal relationships. It's more of like, there's this heaviness around relationships. And so that started from that relationship with Joe and I, which was obviously a very close interpersonal relationship. He was my boyfriend. And so in that dynamic where I was starting to rewire my brain, not knowing, totally not aware of this, clearly, 5 years ago this started, and it only takes like 60 times for something to become a habit, right? And so certain thoughts, certain feelings started to solidify this neural pathway in my brain where I was associating closeness with kind of a yucky feeling where it didn't feel safe. And I know this would break his heart, but I didn't feel safe in that relationship. And it's not because he was a bad person. It's not because he was dangerous. God, I was more dangerous than him in that. I punched a wall at one point. Like, I was way more like physically and emotionally like quote unquote dangerous. Like, I was physically safe. I didn't feel emotionally safe. I didn't feel like my nervous system was safe to be fully relaxed and to be in my feminine receivership. And so in that relationship, it really caused me to actually pull away from other relationships because of the feeling that that relationship gave me. That it's not even a feeling, it was like the belief that I was building about relationships while in that relationship, which pulled me away from other relationships, like friendships, even my family. And I felt like, oh, burden. Thank you. Burden. That's the word. Obligation and burden has been associated with interpersonal relationships. Like, either I am a burden or the other person is a burden. And so, yeah, because I felt like a burden to him for basically the whole relationship. Like, anytime I was emotional, he felt like a burden to me because it just felt like an obligation, right? So when those thoughts and feelings and beliefs are associated with a relationship, what's going to happen when new friendships arrive or when new people come into my life and they want to connect? Not safe. And it's not literally, I have not thought about that once up until right now, is like the word safe. I'm like, obviously I feel safe with girlfriends, like not threatening. But I notice that I do take on the masculine role as of late, like more so, the past few years, to stay in control, to decide things, which I never was like that before. But again, my neural pathways have shifted in a way where I really step into the masculine control in order to feel safe in receiving a friendship, which is not really receiving, it's just doing what I'm doing online and like giving information. And so this has not even, another thing that I realized today is this has not even been just with Joe. Usually when big lessons come up like this in personal romantic relationships, it's something from childhood and or past lifetimes and or family line, right? So I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I feel like this actually, like intuitively, was like, no, Joe actually was being a catalyst. Like, thank you, Joe. Man, the shit that I put him through. Oh my gosh. And it's both of us, but like, man, such a catalyst for all of these things, even later on to realize. In my creator field, I created that relationship to be that way because of things that were in my system, in my belief system. So basically what I'm saying is like the feeling of being a burden or an obligation in relationship started from when I was young. And it goes with my one of those, like, you know, we all have like a thing that we did for love, or if we didn't do something it felt like we were not loved. And for me, if I ever felt like I was a burden in any kind of way, like basically like my brother and sister, I like witnessed them being like, in my mind, I'm not saying they were a burden to my parents, but like they were just a lot more work. Basically they did a lot more like I just see that now as like courageous. I'm like, damn, I wish I had the courage to steal my mom's car without a permit or a license. Like, I never did that stuff because I witnessed my siblings do it. And for whatever reason, I just went the opposite way. And I was like, I did not want to be a burden at all. And so what I'm trying to say is like, that was, yes, the neural pathways were like really working in that relationship with Joe, and it really amplified with the relationships while I was in that relationship. But it's something that amplified at that time that was already in my system, and usually that's the case for romantic relationships. So if there's a pattern that you're noticing, whether you're in the relationship now or you were in that relationship, I would definitely ask yourself, like, where in my childhood did I feel like I was a burden or other people were burdens to me? For me, it was like, that was the good girl syndrome. I was so that, oh my gosh, in school with my parents, like, I just wanted to be liked and loved and appreciated for being good. And that was also like, okay, good, I'm not a burden. Like, I'm doing everything right. And you can see how this also connects to different areas of life. You can see how that might affect my business. Of like, okay, if I'm not doing something right, then I'm fucked. Right? And it all works together in all 8 areas of life, whether it's career or family or social life, financial, spiritual, all of these different things, your hobbies. And so when there's one area of life that's really unbalanced, you're going to feel it in another area of life. So right now, my social bucket of life for me is so unbalanced. And it's not because I don't have 10 friends and I'm not like vulnerable with like all of these friends or a few friends. It's because of the way I'm perceiving myself. This is what it really comes down to as far as our creator field goes. It doesn't mean, all right, in order to fix this, I need more friends. And I just need to like push through it and make more friends, okay? The resolution here, and this is what I'm doing now, is finding the emotional ingredients to plug into my creator field that basically negate the burden and the obligation that I have associated and created neural pathways around in my brain when it comes to relationships. And that really has created a lack of safety when there's an opportunity to connect. And so it's so beautiful because I'm like, sweet, this is why I have not had a romantic partner come in since Joe, because I was meant to really chew on this and work through this and look at those emotional ingredients and rewire myself so I can show up in a way in this next relationship that's going to be so divine that I'm not like having to relive these patterns and be like, wait, what's going on? Why is this happening again? I can't why do I feel like I can't receive again? Like, he kind of feels more masculine, but like, why can't I receive? And it's because I have to first rewire my brain to feel safety in connection, but also more so rewire that burdensome feeling when it comes to relationships. So really think about it. If I have this deep-seated belief that now is coming to surface and I'm like, oh my God, it's so uncomfortable, but like, thank you, so grateful. If I have that deep in me, that relationships are burdens and obligations, what am I going to attract in my life? Burdens and obligations, and that's how I've kind of viewed certain things, where like things will come up and it's like, I feel it's so weird. And I've noticed this. I'm like, why do I feel like this is something I know I want to do, but it feels like there's this underlying feeling of like, I feel just like I need to do it, but it's like an obligation. That's like the best word that has been underlying certain things when it comes to real-time connections as of late, right? And so now it's so cool that this is coming to surface for me to be like, whoa, okay, so this is wired in me. But what's so cool is I can rewire it, and it's not that complicated. So what I am actively doing right now, and I did this today, is I wrote in my notes app in my phone the ingredients and the proof of basically the opposite. So I did an emotional ingredient of I am an amazing friend, because that was, I don't know if I mentioned that, like, I don't feel like I'm a good friend, I'm a bad friend. That's been an underlying belief as well, because I pull myself away and I don't want to have that deep connection, and I don't like to respond in ways that make people feel like I want to hang out with them. Like, that's so, like, it's sad, but also it's so enlightening now to realize this. Are you resonating with this, by the way? I don't know if this is kind of niche, so I know not everyone's going to resonate with this, but again, like, who knows what's going to happen down the road. It's just a good reference for having like a big wide connection online, but then in personal life there's this feeling of disconnection. So the emotional ingredients is I am an amazing friend, because I realized I had a belief that I'm a bad friend, which, by the way, I talked to my bestie Carly today, and she was like, oh my God, Cassie, you literally are the best friend ever. Like, you seriously are so incredible, and so like having someone to reflect that back is also really nice. And so writing down moments of being an amazing friend, and it doesn't have to be with a very close friend, because like I even wrote down yesterday when I was running, this man kept like running into garbage cans with his truck, and so I like went over and like moved the garbage can. I'm like, that was me being a friend, right? That was being a really good friend. I stopped my run and I did that for him. Turns out he just like drove away and didn't even need me to do that. It was actually hilarious. So I'm like, oh, that's an interesting reflection. But excuse me, that was before I realized all this, I think. So anyways, another one I'm writing is relationships enhance my life with love and connection. So they enhance my life. It's not like a burden. I'm like doing the opposites here. And then instead of like feeling like an obligation, it's relationships are easy and natural. So this is so key when you are feeling stuck in a certain area or really triggered by certain situations that are coming up. The way that you're feeling, when you can get to it, just like I did today or yesterday, whenever, about feeling like a burden, obligation, I'm not a good friend, what's the opposite? And then find the proof. That's how I'm just rewiring over here. That's how we rewire our brains. Neuroplasticity. So cool. It doesn't have to be that complicated. So I love that I took that time today. That was me being a good friend to me today. I'm an amazing friend, even to me. So I can add that to my list of, I'm making this list right now. That's how good of a friend I am to myself. I'm like, I'm a good friend to the land. I give it gifts, right? It doesn't have to be super like, oh my God, but I haven't had like a really close friend to like write down, just to let you know. Because at first my brain was like, well, Cass, I don't know how you're going to come up with this. And then when you start to really sit down and it's like, okay, no, there's so many examples. And I am a really good freaking friend, okay? Shout out to my clients and Tim Peeps for being awesome friends to me as well. And I'm excited to shift this in me, in my creator field, and feel the ripple effect come back to me and reach other people where they can not only feel seen and held in a collective reading, but when they're face to face with me and we're just having an interpersonal communication. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to shift things. So your brain is obviously a part of your nervous system. So when you rewire your brain, you also rewire your nervous system. So that's why working with nervous system regulation is really important, like embodiment practice, somatic practice. Carly and I talk about this all the time, like doing a dance or just like raging out and like letting it move through you helps you feel safer in all of the stuff that's coming up. So that's also key. Obviously taking very deep breaths, doing a little breath work. Whew, it feels so good to do that because most people, even right now, I'm noticing during this podcast, maybe because it's like a topic that I'm like, oh, it's a little vulnerable. It is vulnerable. It can feel uncomfortable. And so it makes you feel more uncomfortable when you're not breathing. So deepening the breath is a signal that your body is safe, because when you're shallow breathing, that's a signal that you are in danger, fight or flight. And that's what happens when you're running from something and you're scared. It's shorter breath and like higher. But when you take nice, big, long, deep breaths, ooh, the safety in the body, so good. So let's see what else. I didn't even really look at my notes here, but I just want to make sure I touched on the things. Let's see. Yeah, and I just want to like highlight that even though this happened in a romantic relationship, it really rippled into every form of interpersonal connection. It's just, it's like almost, it's a relief. You know, when you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, thank God, even though I don't go to the doctor anymore. I mean, I don't know if you guys know how I feel about the medical system, but topic for another day. But if you're like feeling away and the doctor's like, oh, you have strep throat or you have this going on, you're like, okay, thank God, that makes sense. Like, okay, this is how I deal with it. That's how I feel right now. When I look back at certain situations and the way that I felt, like connecting with people that I seriously love, but there was a feeling of obligation, it almost, not even almost, it made me feel bad about myself. Like, why would you feel that way? Why would you feel obligated to hang out with someone that you love? Like, what is that? And that's been going on for a long time, a very long time. Like I said, it starts at childhood, but then Joe came in, God bless his soul, to amplify this in order for me to really, pay attention, even though 2 years later, hello, here we are. Thank you, Sedona. Sedona's like, girl, you ready to get this out of your field? Yeah, I am. And I guarantee there's going to be certain connections that come into my life now that I've realized this, because I'm actually putting in the effort to change this neural pathway. So that's so cool. It's so cool how easy it is to shift these things. So also with intuitives and spiritual leaders, this is very common to feel this way when you are feeling like you are the safe one for other people. So again, it's putting you at one end of the spectrum. But then when you go to the other, it's like, no, I'm like a leader, so I don't need to be there. I'm a tarot reader, so I don't need to be read for. You know, it's like, no, you're a human, so yes, you do. Not that you have to have cards read for you, but so interesting to witness that. And it's just something to reflect on if you actually are like really content with being in hermit mode alone. And there are introverts, so I understand people can recharge more when they're alone. And it's just wild to see how I have always been, besides when I was like a little girl, I was really scared of everything. And so I guess that's another topic for another day. But I mean, that could be, everything is connected, right? Could be feeling like I didn't want to be an issue, and I was scared of people because they could perceive me as being an issue, and then I wouldn't feel loved, these types of things. It really goes back. And I'm really feeling intuitively this has been actual lifetimes for me. This has been a soul lesson. Yeah, I'm feeling it intuitively. It's like really expanding in my heart right now. And this has been lifetimes that I've been moving through this lesson with different iterations of myself. And I've been hurt over and over and over again in order to have this realization that I'm having today. So in real time, I hope this is helping you as well, or at least shed light on certain things that can come up in certain ways and then how you can move through it. I don't love to use the word heal. It's just more of knowing yourself. And I guess that's what healing is seeing yourself for who you really are. And I've always known, like, I'm not someone who feels that way in relationship. Like, that's just not who I am. That made me feel disconnected from other people and myself. When you feel disconnected from yourself, you feel disconnected from other people. And so that's what this belief that has been so deeply rooted in me has like manifested in my life is that relationship with Joe and etc. So let's see, rebuild safety in your body again, nervous system regulation, when it comes to your brain, writing these things down, letting yourself receive friendship again. And that could be like little by little. It doesn't mean like going to sleep over at a friend's house for 7 days in a row. I mean, I don't know how old you are or like if that's something that you're into, but you know what I mean? Like ease into it. Go for coffee with someone, like practice being received in a friendship and receiving that friendship and receiving other people and receiving advice, right? The advice you give the most is the advice you need the most. Laws of the universe. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so interesting when I really feel into the readings I've been doing and the energy coming through for the collective. It's things that I have needed to hear as well, as far as getting out of hermit mode and really connecting in. And it's one thing to be like, yeah, I know, I want more connection, but it's another for your nervous system to feel safe when you are connecting with literally making new connections. And as you make these new connections, you are making new connections in your brain, which is very cool. But first, you really do want to harness that safety, which can start with your logical brain and plugging those things into your creator field. And I recommend you do that every day. And that's what I'm going to be doing as well. Literally, you can just, for, I don't know, 20 minutes or 5 minutes, however long you want to take, the more potent it is, the better, right? If you can do it for 20 minutes at a time for the first week, that could be really, really impactful. And you can shift your creator field so fast because you're making that a habit to look for proof that you are a good friend, to look for proof that you definitely are not a burden. You are amplifying love out in the world through these connections, right? So see yourself as worthy of being known intimately, not just trying to be seen by so many people. Like, that was such a thing for me for so long. And now I'm kind of like numb to it. It doesn't faze me to just say whatever online. I don't really, it literally does not faze me to like cry online. But when it comes to interpersonal relationships, that's a different story. So interesting, right? Welcome to my brain, by the way. I'm just like giving you all the dirty details. I've protected this, by the way, this recording from any dark forces to come in, because I'm like, I feel kind of like, obviously a little emotional. So small invitations, having boundaries, still hold boundaries. This doesn't mean like get rid of them and just connect with people, right? Keep your boundaries with yourself and with others and with your thoughts. Whenever they come through, write it down. What's the opposite? Find the proof. And notice where your inner child is scared, and talk to your inner child. Have a conversation, So I'm excited because what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to ask, my dreams have been so wild. I don't know about you, but I'm going to, before I go to bed, ask my higher self to show me a little something in my dreams when it comes to this. If there's like anything I'm missing, or to help just really integrate what I'm learning in real time. And our dreams are so incredible because it's literally our subconscious mind. It's so cool. It's so cool. I'm obsessed. So a good journaling prompt for you guys today, if you're interested in doing so, is what version of you what felt hurt in relationship, or felt a certain way that obviously is not like higher self feeling of like highest aligned path. And what does he or she need to do or to be in order to feel safe again? Notice I said be. That's identity. I've identified myself as being a bad friend. What does that create more of? Me being a bad friend, or at least doing things that make me perceive myself to be a bad friend. I'm creating my reality through what I believe. God damn it. See, with great power comes great responsibility. So make sure your beliefs, and it's just so crazy because these beliefs run so deep. It's not like your everyday thoughts, but your everyday thoughts, especially in a pattern, when they come up in certain relationships, will show you what those beliefs are, so you can really get to the core instead of being like, I hate that I thought that, which I've done for a long time. I didn't really ask myself because it was kind of scattered, and it was a little like, am I just an introvert now, or am I just someone that doesn't have aligned relationships because I've evolved consciously? Hello, spiritual ego. Everyone is meant to have friends, and we can have friends in different consciousnesses. It doesn't have to be they live in the old earth, so I cannot speak to them again. When you have soul contracts with people, when you have soul bonds with people, they might be at different frequencies, and that's okay. That's how we learn. Everyone has something to learn from each other. And when we put people down, or when we put ourselves down, that's when, all of these reflections start to come in. But let's welcome these reflections, as I am doing today. So if you are someone who is in the spotlight and you feel very comfortable sharing out loud all the things, yet when it comes to interpersonal relationships, it feels so sticky and weird and hard, you're not frickin' alone. And I hope today's episode really helped you see that, okay? But we can get through this. Please let me know in the comments. Please let me know via my DMs. Post on your stories if you like this episode, if you feel like you want other people to hear it, if you want other people to feel empowered and like it's okay to be talking about these things, even if it's just coming up. I mean, there's so many reasons that we want to get this message out there for the people. And I just really thank you for listening today. One of my favorite pieces of what I do in the world is Tarot Intuition Mastery. And we have round 3 coming in July. And I'm so excited because right now it is available to get into. You can get in right now at the early bird pricing if you are watching or listening to this before June 30th. July 1st, the price goes up. It's still going to be a good price, okay? So don't force yourself if you're not feeling aligned right now. Sometimes it takes a little time to say yes. It's still going to be a low price, but it is early bird pricing right now. You can pay in full, or there's payment plans. If you need a different payment plan, you can email me. I'll keep the link down below for Tarot Intuition Mastery, and I'll also put my email. If you have questions or you're like, ooh, I want to be in this, but like I need a little bit of a different payment plan, I am excited to work with you and to get more soul family into this container because, like I said, this community is incredible. Seriously, I am blown away that like I created this for people to connect with each other. And now, especially after this realization, I'm really going to do what I can. I'm like, oh, I'm already feeling resistance. Oh, it's okay. To receiving more from the community instead of just like giving to it because I'm a part of it too. And I'm doing this, I do these readings for the collective, but I'm a part of the collective. I do all of these teachings for the collective, but I'm a part of the collective. And so I want to receive as well with you guys. And I just love and appreciate you all so much. Thank you for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for commenting, and for letting me know how this landed with you, because I don't know, this might be one of my favorite episodes because it just feels so important. And there's so many different lessons interwoven here. And I've been talking for 45 minutes. So you might want to listen to this again, because our brains can only absorb so much. Speaking of our neurology, our brains can only absorb so much. So you might want to come back and listen to it again. But I would love it if you shared this with a friend, if you shared it on your social media, and if you let me know how this landed with you. I do have offerings as well in the description below. I have classes available. We had Oracle Activation class pretty recently. That recording is so potent. Like, whoa, it is infused with codes for you. And that can also give you a good taste of Tarot Intuition Mastery if you're like, what is it going to be like in class with Cassie? Is she going to talk to me? Is she going to see me? I will know your name if you're in class, okay? And we shall become soul fam besties, all right? That's how I feel about everyone that has signed up for Tarot Intuition Mastery, especially if you can come to the live classes and we can interact and I do personal readings and all the things. So much value in that course. It's 6 weeks together. There's more information below. If you have questions, let me know. And I think I've talked long enough today. So thank you for listening. I so appreciate you. I feel like this episode is going to reach the people that need it most. And I probably will be listening back to this episode for me to receive these codes myself and to let my brain also ingrain all of these things that have come through really in real time with you guys. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being there for me and receiving me. And I'm so excited to see what shifts in this journey for myself and even for you, if this really resonated with you. So until next time, I will see you on the next episode of Creator Codes. Love you guys so much.